Chapter 30, Roommates. Winter turned to spring as the van was redecorated. Just removing the grease that had built up on every surface of the vehicle, inside and outside, took a week. Even the steering wheel was thick with slime. However, the work didn't seem like work, because Zoe and her dad did most of it together, and it was surprisingly fun. Because he was so happy, Dad didn't go to the pub once, and that made Zoe happy too. There was a snag, of course. Being unemployed, Dad only received a small amount of benefit money. It was a pittance and was barely enough to feed him and his daughter, let alone refurbish a van. Fortunately, Dad was an ingenious sort. He had found lots of the bits and pieces he needed for the van from the rubbish dump. He rescued an old discarded little freezer and repaired it. He used that to keep the lollies cold in. An old sink was just the right size to fit in the back of the van for rinsing the scoops. Zoe found an old funnel from a skip, which with a bit of paint and papier-mâché, the father and daughter managed to fashion into an ice cream cone to stick on the front of the van. And so, it was finally done. Their very own ice cream van. Zoe's suspension from school was being lifted tomorrow. However, there was still one final decision, one major, crucial thing they had to make their minds up about. One really important, outstanding matter. What to write on the side of the van. "You should name it after you," said Zoe as they stepped back to admire their handiwork. The van stood gleaming in the afternoon sun in the car park of the estate. Dad held a brush and a pot of paint in his hand. "No, I have a better idea," he said with a smile. Dad lifted his hand up to the side of the van and started painting on the letters. Zoe looked on, intrigued. A was the first letter. "Dad, what are you writing?" asked Zoe impatiently. "Shush," replied her father, "you'll see." Then R, and then M. Soon Zoe had it too, and couldn't resist shouting out, "Armitage!" "Yes," laughed Dad, "Armitage's ices." "I love it," said Zoe, jumping up and down on the pavement with excitement. Dad added the I, then the T, then the A, G, E, the apostrophe, because everyone knows apostrophes are very important, then the S, then the word ices. "Are you sure you want to name it after him?" asked Zoe. "He's just a little rat after all." "I know, but without him, none of this would have ever happened." "You're right, Dad. He's a very special little fellow." "You never did tell me why you called him Armitage, by the way," said Dad. Zoe gulped. This was absolutely not the time to tell her father he had written the name of a toilet on the side of his gleaming ice cream van. It's a long story, Dad." "I've got all day." "Right, well, another day, I promise. In fact, I had better just go and get him. I want him to see what we have done to the van." Armitage was all grown up now and didn't fit in her blazer pocket anymore. So Zoe had left him in the flat. Zoe excitedly ran up the stairs of the tower block and rushed into her bedroom. Armitage was scuttling around Gingernut's old cage. Dad had liberated the cage from the pawn shop by exchanging it for a bumper box of prawn cocktail crisps his ex-wife had amazingly left uneaten. Of course, the room wasn't just Zoe's bedroom anymore. No, since the wall had fallen down, it was now a room twice the size that she shared with someone else. That someone else being Tina Trotts. The council were meant to have repaired the wall ages ago, but it was still down. To Zoe's surprise, when she entered the room, Tina was kneeling beside the cage and tenderly feeding the little rat little crusts of bread through the bars. "What are you doing?" asked Zoe. "Oh, I thought he might be a little peckish," said Tina. "Hope you don't mind." "I will take over, thank you," replied Zoe, snatching the food out of Tina's hand. She was still suspicious of everything the big girl did. After all, Tina was the one who flobbed on Zoe's hair every day on the way to school. The misery she had caused would not be easily forgotten. "Do you still not trust me?" asked Tina. Zoe thought for a moment. Let's just hope the council gets that wall up soon, she said eventually. I don't mind, said Tina. I've enjoyed sharing a room with you, actually. Zoe said nothing. The silence hung in the air for a moment, and Tina started to fidget. Thought Zoe, stop feeling sorry for Tina Trotts. The thing was, though, that in the past few weeks, Zoe had come to understand a lot more about Tina's life, how her horrible father screamed at her most nights. Tina's father was a great bear of a man. He enjoyed making his daughter feel worthless, and more Zoe was wondering if that was why Tina did the same to others. Not just to Zoe, but to anyone weaker than her. A great grinding wheel of cruelty that could go round and round forever if someone didn't stop it. Yet as much as Zoe now understood Tina, she still didn't like the girl. There's something I need to say to you, Zoe, said Tina suddenly, her eyes filling with tears. Something I've never said to anyone, ever. Ever. And if you repeat it, I'll kill you. Goodness, thought Zoe. What on earth could it be? Is it some terrible secret? Does Tina have a second head that she keeps hidden under her jumper? Or is she really a boy called Bob? But no, reader. It was none of these things. It was something much more shocking.